straight on curves that need to be there and curves that don't. Alright, half an hour later, and we have first pass rough polish on this doll. I've done most of the big areas. I've kind of moved a panel at a time. You'll notice that I kind of curved, there was a very right angle here, and I kind of curved it a little bit because I think the fabric probably is going to look better that way if there's not a big drop off between this shoulder and this sleeve here. But other than that, I've left the body pretty much as it was, pretty intact. Now I'm going to show you how to do the more fine part of sanding. You can see my sanding equipment is pretty worn down here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. And you can just do this with normal sandpaper too. And fold it in half. And just make myself a little... This is not good. Untangle. There we go. There we go. I'm going to make myself a little, just a little piece of sandpaper for fine tuning. And that way I can get in all the little cracks and the deep spots. So right now I'm going to go back over all the little bits I missed, all the tiny little ledges and fine details, and I'm just going to sand those. Getting all those cracks that I couldn't get into. You'll see that I didn't do much around these bottoms of these sleeves and also on the edges of the obi here. I'm going to smooth those out right now as well. And what I can do is if I want to get in really tight areas, I can fold this in half and just kind of hold it and do that. So I will let you progress with this, and then we will move on to cleaning up the lines on the doll. Alright, she's pretty fully polished now. I've gotten all the little corners and inside edges, and she's pretty smooth. You know, I'll run into places that are still kind of rough just while I'm feeling it. There's still, you know, I'll find a bump or a little knot here or there, and I'll just whip out my trusty sandpaper and blow that away. But I think she's pretty good to go as far as the initial sanding goes. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through and complete all the incompleted lines. Because they do these with them, they machine carve the lines in here, sometimes they don't make it all the way. So, like here, for example, you have that nice little zigzag down her front, and those are supposed to be two different types of fabric, by the way. But, if you'll notice, the two lines do not exactly join at the corners. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little carving knife and very carefully just make those lines join each other at the corners. So I trust you didn't break the foot off while you were polishing. Those are a pain to rebuild. If by any chance you happen to knock a piece off, save it. It can be glued back on. If you've broken it hopelessly beyond repair, you can always rebuild stuff that you've broken, even big areas. So don't worry too much about breaking. You know, really try not to break stuff, but if you do break off a toe or break off, I always break the collar when I'm making the hole for the head. If you do break something like the collar, just keep all the pieces you can, and you can fix it later. So that's one of the nice things about Kimekomi is you can usually repair your work. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to finish this corner here, and I'm going to make a nice corner, make sure I don't collapse it with the edge of the knife. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. See? I have such a weird hard time with this. Okay, see? That's a nice corner, and it joins at that corner. And it's a nice pointy corner. So make sure your corners are rounded, because you're going to have to fill those in later if you make them rounded. But yeah, so go around the doll body and see if you can make it, find all the machine grooves that haven't been joined. If you have a picture of the doll or a pattern, this really helps. A lot of the class dolls have patterns and you can see where the lines are supposed to go. If not, you're just going to have to, look at pictures of people in kimonos and just logically decide, okay, I think this line needs to be completed. Here's an example of one. This line on the back of the sleeve doesn't go all the way through. I think it probably should go all the way through. That being said, I could probably get away with pushing it in with it not going all the way through. But I think just the way it's carved and the fact that it's so close to that line there means that it probably should. So I'm going to go ahead and extend that. There we go. Once again, a nice sharp corner is what we're going for here. Again, if you break it off, no big deal, but you know, we make them sharp later. So anyway, I'm going to go around the doll and make sure that, oh, see, I just broke a bit off there. Make sure that all these lines go through the way they're supposed to. And inevitably you'll miss some, and you can always come back to them later. Then what we're going to do, so assume that we've finished doing that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to make all of these lines nice and even. I've got a piece of sandpaper here. I'm just going to go ahead and insert that in one of the grooves. You can see right there. Nice little pattern on her sleeve. This doll, by the way, comes from that Juho Toge website, and it's called Otomai Yasobi. She has a nice little purple and kind of chick yellow kimono. It's really going to be pretty when it's done. So we're going to make these lines nice and even here. And just insert this in the groove and just go back and forth until we have a nice even line. So we're going to sand down the inside of the grooves in that way. And you'll notice that some of these grooves are rather, they do tend to get gunk down in them, and this will just help clear that out, especially after you've sanded it. That about concludes today's lesson. I'm going to go ahead and go through and finish all of these little details, and then I'll show you my final product when I'm done. Alright now, there we go. She's got nice lines, she's nice and smooth all over. I'm sure I'll find some bits that I can complain about later, but if you do find those, just go ahead and fix them with your sandpaper. That's about it for this lesson. Next time we're going to cover further improving your lines by making them deeper. And also doing head and hand holds, which will inevitably lead into patching and fixing things that you've broken. So, until next time, have fun.